Hi, how are you?
Great!
You've already improved. Isn't that wonderful? You know, our tonal quality is 38% of our message. When we're communicating with somebody, 38% is the tone, our pace, tone, volume is our voice. So, how are you? You got a message right there, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, how we own our voice is a huge part of how we know ourselves and how other people know us. So, I'm Kris King, and I want to welcome you all to The Secret of Your Success. And my hope is to totally demystify that, because it ain't a secret. You all know, you already know the secret of your success. Every single person in this room knows. But we do this great thing called denial, where we'll make our success about things out there instead of things in here. So tonight is about looking in here, all right? How many of you have not done a wing seminar before? And PDS grads, please don't raise your hands. See? Okay, cool. We do these evenings to keep grads busy. No, I'm kidding. To keep grads connected to the work, to interact, to learn, to play. Hopefully to take ourselves a little bit lighter than we usually do. And to be staying engaged in the growth process. One step at a time, every day of our lives. Being a lifelong learner is a great definition of being a whole person. That we're learning and engaged in that. Do any of you know somebody who has decided they already know everything? And there's no need to be open to much of anything. So what is it like being around people that live that way?
Frustrating.
It's frustrating, isn't it? You know, especially if you're curious. You know, and to be with somebody who's decided with, I guarantee you, really good reasons. You know, we choose our strategies, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes consciously. They're all there, well-intentioned. However, when we get to the outcome that that behavior creates, it may not really be serving us very well. Have any of you stayed in a relationship longer than you really know you should have? So how did you do that?
I rationalized it.
Rationalized it, put the blinders on, right?
Put the blinders on.
Denied all the evidence that this isn't right, you know. But we'd rather have something rather than not having something. That whole sense of loss is kind of scary. But in order to have what we really want, letting go is part of the process of the things that are not lined up for us. So, those of you who raise your hands, I mean, if I'm using language that you don't get, please ask questions. Grads, if I'm saying stuff you don't get, please ask questions. So that's for all of you. How many of you already know that you think you're successful? Okay. How many of you really know there's room for improvement? Yeah, okay. So this is not about right and wrong. It's not you're bad because you didn't get there yet. This is about noticing where I am and where I want to be and learning how to get to that place. So I use quotes as a way to bring other people that agree with me into the room. I get to do that. Isn't that awesome? I get to bring. So today, if you happen to be looking at the news, Apple did $39.6, I believe, billion in the first quarter of this year. 11.2 billion was profit. So they've actually increased their percentage of profit since Steve died. I call him Steve. It's like, I have a 4S. The phone, you know why it says 4S on it? Why it's called that? It's for Steve. That's why it's called a 4S. Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool.
So he obviously left his company in the hands of really capable people, really talented people, to maintain that momentum, because there was a lot of fear around what's going to happen without Steve. He did something really well. So this is when he was diagnosed, and he did all this stuff, and he realized he was going to go. Your time is limited. We don't know how long we're going to be here. So don't waste it living someone else's life. How many of you have experienced that? Living out your mother's dream or your father's dream or what you thought your husband or wife thought you should do. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Isn't that powerful? So like I said, you all really know this stuff, but we get it buried under our busyness of every day and our expectations of what we're supposed to do and how we want to get approval from other people. We get mired in supposed to's, assumptions, expectations, and our fear. Yeah? So Chen Chu is a Chinese woman who wrote a great book. It's called Thick Face, Black Heart, and it's all about creating success in your life. The difference between a great artist and a competent artist is not the technical ability, but rather in the expression of soul. When we show up heartful and passionate, I mean, you've heard people that are technically great on the piano, and you've heard people who have their whole soul in it. You can tell the difference. And that's the difference, I think, of success, is when my heart is full in my everyday life. When I'm happy and engaged in the things that are most important to me that's success. You know? We have lots of other considerations too, but to me that's one of the primary ones. Michael Jordan, you know who he is. He's over here on that board. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Because I keep going forward, you know, and I don't see success or failure as a failure. I see it as a step. You know, Richard Bandler said, "There is no failure, only feedback that what you're doing is not working." It's just not working, so what can I do that does work? You know? And my last one, I love this one by Bill Cosby. I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody. Isn't that true? Yeah. What's the impact of this one, specifically?
Trust your intuition.
Trust your intuition. And your heart. You know, your dreams are already there. They seeded down a long, long time ago. You know, and I'm reading a great book. I think it's called A Secret Life of Plants. And
there's also a movie by that name.
Yeah, well, I'm reading a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all about how, in research, they found that the heart is 65% of the heart is neural, what do they call it? Neurons. Yeah, 65% of the heart. And it's the heart that actually tells the brain what to do. Yeah, it's really cool. And I'm only on page 4. But it's like, that makes complete sense. You know, so with every beat of your heart is sending messages to your brain about what to do. The brain is linear and the heart is nonlinear. You know, it's a global view of your life. So more to come when I get to page 50. So the evenings that we do are like a little taste of what happens in the seminars. You get to meet me or another facilitator. You get to meet the kind of people that come do the work. And you also get to practice, do some of the things we do in seminar. Because talking about something isn't doing something. How many of you know that one? Okay. So how many of you think you need to know how to do something, that you've thought it all through before you can actually go do it? How's it working?
Not very well.
Not very well. Well, I think in order to do that, I need an MBA. Well, I want to open a business, so I have to have an MBA instead of opening the business and learning how to do your business. You know. So I want you to know when you come to Wings, you're going to think. You're going to explore and get curious about your very own belief system, because your belief system is your map. It's how we're driving and navigating our world. And most of it is totally unconscious. We're just operating out of it because it's our system. Historically, here, we were programmed to judge success and winning in relationship to how fast we can produce measurable results. Money, status, stuff like that. Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm.
That's, we get it, we hear it all the time. So how many of you have longed to be in a deep, loving relationship? Okay, how many of you worked at it? Okay, and how many of you still aren't there? Okay, so what if, so you stop trying, is that right? You just say, well, it's not going to happen. What if the little good witch Glenda came down and said, I want you to know your soulmate, your perfect match is 3 people away.
Yeah.
So what would you do, Lorenzo? If you knew, if this is crystal clear, absolute truth, your perfect match is 3 people away. Wouldn't you have, hey, hi Kris, we're going to have a short relationship. Nice to meet you. Until you get to the 3rd person. Instead of waiting and saying, I can't do anything, you would get engaged in the process so you can hit what you want. There's so many statistics about people thinking they're failures when their success was just 3 steps farther on the road, but they stopped in that process because they were tired of being persistent. So what you want to be successful at is within your reach, your heart and your mind and your body, your soul. Know it. But then we give up because we don't get the immediate results that we think we should have if we're on the right track. So we're going to look at some definitions because language is how we frame our world. So the word success is based on the verb succeed. Right? To inherit. Now, I think this is really great when I did research on it, because this is old, seated stuff. To succeed is to inherit sovereignty, rank, or title. How's that? To turn out well, to attain a desired object. Object. Money, or building, or, something. So, does inherit sovereignty or rank or title bring you back into history? And this whole thinking that success means I've got a lot. Success, degree or measure of succeeding. Favorable or desired succeeding. Favorable or desired outcome. Attainment of wealth, favor, or eminence. And here we are back to thinking it's about external measures.
Mm-hmm.
We've been trained this way. This is the belief system we're swimming in, right? How do you feel when you see some football player making $12 million a year? And that's probably not very much. I know, but our kids are growing up with this. So we talked about the secret of your success. Secret definition, kept from knowledge or view, hidden. Discretion, hidden, revealed only to the initiated. So it's for the special people. Constructed so as to elude observation. or detection. It's not something to share, something to make sure. So you think of all the elitist organizations we have and all that weird stuff. So what I said in the copy was, let's demystify your success because it is not a mystery. So mystify, that definition is to perplex the mind, to mystify it. Bewilder, to make mysterious or obscure. Again, it's only for a special group. Demystify means to eliminate the mystifying features of anything. Okay? All right. So, we have another handout. Demystifying my success. Okay. We're going to demystify it. So here are 8 steps to help you demystify your success. Now the very first one at the top of the list, and I'll wait till the papers stay around. So the first one is what? Some of you don't sound very happy. Okay, so what does being accountable mean to you? I take ownership.
Admitting when I'm wrong.
Admitting when I'm wrong. Awareness.
Learning from feedback.
Learning from feedback.
Truthful.
Truthful.
Doing what I'll say I'll do.
Doing what I'll say I'll do. That's more along integrity lines.
Being a choice.
I'm a chooser. I'm a free chooser in an unlimited field of choice, choosing moment to moment. And I'm responsible for my choices. That's what accountability means. If it's happening in this unit, I created it. And I own the choices I made to get in here. So it's all about personal responsibility and ownership. To account for myself. I account for my choices. All right? Now, I loved it. Somebody said, I want to take ownership, but it's way easier to blame other people. Correct? How many of you know that one? Or blame the weather for your bad mood. Or whatever. Instead of taking ownership and being accountable for things, to say, well, I'm not successful because of that, instead of I'm not successful because of this. Okay? So the second one is
Knowing what I want.
okay. How many of you have trouble with that one? Okay. Again, because of the nature of our culture, we have knowing what we want being all about what we're going to do to get things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What is my profession going to be? How much money can I make? It's about doing so then I can have. Make sense? How's it working? How many people do you think are sitting behind computers that really don't want to be there?
Sure.
Oh, lots.
Yep.
Or counting the days to gain their retirement in some way, instead of being really passionate about what they do. Okay. So this is Conversations with God, Book 1.
Oh, yeah.
So there are 3 books. Book 1, 2, 3. Read Book 1 3 times instead of reading the other 2.
9.
Because Book 1 is the best. I mean, it holds everything in it, and the other thing. The most rapid way to change a root thought. So the things on the other side, the but side of your writing, okay. Or a sponsoring thought, that's what that is to reverse the thought, word, deed process. We think about things, we turn them into language, and then we do things. That's the process of creation. So, to reverse it, to change a sponsoring thought, you're not going to think yourself out of it. Have any of you tried to change a belief by thinking about it? How's it working? Okay. So what he says is do the deed that you want to have the new thought about. Then say the words that you want to have your new thought about. Do this often enough and you'll train the mind to think a new way. So you change beliefs through action, not through thinking them. Does that make sense? You do the thing that you don't want to do or you're afraid to do, and you'll learn by that, and we create neural pathways, so we have all this great stuff that comes on. And that's another thing that happens at Wings, is we actually do stuff. We're not just thinking about things and talking about things. We interact and join the process. Okay? So Gandhi's cool. I put this on my Facebook page today because I like it so much. His top 10 fundamentals for changing the world. And this is actually accurate. I checked it out. It's not somebody making it up. Change yourself. How many of you know you've been trying to change things out there so you can feel more comfortable? You know, make the change in here. You are in control. What are you in control of?
Yourself.
Yourself. And sometimes not even that, right? But you're the only thing you're in control of, not outside events or other people. Have any of you wanted to have, yeah, I already answered that. So forgive and let go. How many of you are carrying a lot of baggage? Things about the past, about yourself, about other people, past presidents, price of gas. I mean, you know, organic food. I mean, you know, we can do all sorts of stuff in our head where we're holding stuff against whole industries, whole countries, religions. I mean, you know, forgive and let go. Number 4, without action, we aren't going anywhere. This whole thing of thinking ourselves into a great life. Yes, thinking it and designing it is important, but it's not going to change unless you do something about it. Take care of this moment. Do any of you spend time in alternate realities? That's the past or the future. That's an alternate reality. It's something you're making manifest in your real moment so that you're missing the moment. You're preoccupied by something else. Everyone is human. And sometimes, boy, I mean, if you look at the things that we're doing in our world right now, this one is huge. And that's one of the things I love about Gandhi and his behavior. Passive resistance was way better than war. Persist. You know, you get clear about what you choose to create. Doesn't mean you're going to hit the target the first time. One of my favorite, I have lots of quotes, is Japanese, and it goes, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Just because you fell down does not mean it's the wrong thing. It just means I don't know how to do it yet. If you put yourself in the watching a little kid learning how to walk, did they give up?
No.
No way. Determined. Roar. You know, they roll and fall and up they go again, you know, and they may cry for a little bit, but they're going to be like the tall things around them, you know. See the good in people and help them. See the good in people and help them. You know, every single person that you see walking down the street has a story. And it's pretty darn amazing that they're alive, if you hear their stories. Those kids down on the mall with piercings and the tattoos and whatever kind of hairdo, I mean, if you stop and talk with them, you'd be amazed. Your empathy and compassion would open hugely. But without that interaction, you get to hold on to your beliefs about them and be right about it. Be congruent, be authentic, be your true self. Now, could that take a little time to discover? Yeah. And doing the work at Wings is opening that door and walking in. And continue to grow and evolve. This is an ongoing evolutionary process. My mom died 1 month after she turned 93. She was crystal clear mentally and metastasized breast cancer. And she had, we had caregivers for her, incredible women. And they came from an island in the South Pacific, and I can't remember right now what it was. But my mom sat with those women every day. One came in the morning, one in the afternoon. Talked with them about their culture, the religion, the education of their young, learned some words in their language. I mean, she had this incredibly rich interactions with both these women. Pimpudi was one. And when she died, they both came to us, the whole family, and said, "We have never taken care of anyone who was as interested in us as we were in them, or gave as much to us through love and respect, because she wanted to know them. She wanted to share their reality." And I think that's really powerful. Who you be is most important. What you do from that state of being is how you live a really fulfilled life. So I hope this evening you have broadened your definition of success to your own definition instead of the ones from Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. That's where it's from. So that you feel fulfilled every day. In this list, demystifying my success, here's the list. Being accountable, knowing what I want, deciding what to do, doing it, taking the action, evaluating the results, making changes, doing it, and persist. And we walk into the life we love. And she had, we had caregivers for her, incredible women. And they came from an island in the South Pacific, and I can't remember right now what it was. But my mom sat with those women every day. One came in the morning, one in the afternoon. Talked with them about their culture, the religion, the education of their young, learned some words in their language. I mean, she had this incredibly rich interactions with both these women. Pimpudi was one. And when she died, they both came to us, the whole family, and said, "We have never taken care of anyone who was as interested in us as we were in them, or gave as much to us through love and respect, because she wanted to know them. She wanted to share their reality. And I think that's really powerful. Who you be is most important. What you do from that state of being is how you live a really fulfilled life. So I hope this evening you have broadened your definition of success to your own definition instead of the ones from Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. That's where it's from. So that you feel fulfilled every day. In this list, demystifying my success, here's the list. Being accountable, knowing what I want, deciding what to do, doing it, taking the action, evaluating the results, making changes, doing it, and persist. And we walk into the life we love.